One of the greatest lines I've ever heard about the campaign to get more women into engineering and manufacturing came from an engineering apprentice, a graduate apprentice at a PLC engineering firm. She said, "We'll know when we've got there when I have to queue for the women's loo." Well, one young woman who has definitely made it, indeed she's been named as one of Autocar's Great Women Rising Stars 2021, is Rowe. Jo works for Ricardo. She's operations manager in charge of the production line, turning out 100 engines a week for McLaren supercars. Hell of a job. Jo, many congratulations for being nominated or being named by Autocar in this way. What was your reaction when you heard about it?
When I heard about it, I was a little bit bemused, to be fair, because I was asked if I was comfortable with being nominated in the first place. But when I heard about the result, obviously it's great whenever you're acknowledged and recognised for your performance. So that was brilliant, and the response has been honestly a little bit overwhelming at this stage. But I'm just also quite proud to be part of that, and part of what Autocar are trying to promote in terms of visibility for women in our industry. It's really good to be part of that.
That's really interesting about the visibility of the women in industry. And of course, one would hope that, for instance, we had yesterday the International Women in Engineering Day. We would want every day to be women in engineering, if you like. I mean, that's the target, isn't it? That's what we're all hoping for, that we don't have to spotlight ever again the fact that so few women are in senior positions like yourself in engineering and manufacturing.
Absolutely. And you said it earlier, the visibility and the representation is so important for young people who are considering where they want to go with their careers. It's very difficult to break through if you can't see a path to get there.
Tell us about your career. How did you get started? What sort of got you interested in engineering?
It is a very difficult one to give you a succinct answer on, in terms of engineering itself, but I think probably from a very early age, I was really interested in making things, and generally creating stuff. And then at school, I was quite academic as a kid, actually. So I enjoyed subjects like maths and science, physics specifically, as well as the practical side of things. So by the time I was doing my A levels, I was doing maths, further maths, physics, and also resistant materials technology, which we used to call wood and metalwork, because I like that balance of doing the practical, creative stuff as well. So looking back now, it's quite obvious that those things lent themselves to moving into engineering. So it sort of came a little bit naturally that way.
And what route did you take?
So I went to university and did a thick master's degree as an undergraduate, which means that I did a placement in industry. And I really did learn a lot from that placement in industry. I spent a year with Avon Tyres in their motorsport division, and that's probably where I really got bitten by the automotive and the manufacturing bug. From that point, that's when I knew what I wanted to do.
Now, I have to ask you if at any stage you felt there were any obstacles in your way to achieving a career in engineering. Was it hard work? Did you get all the support you needed and all the introductions you wanted?
I think back in the early days, sort of growing up at school, and with my family, I had lots of really good support, and I was fortunate to have a really good education. And like I said, I went to a good school, and they offered that combination of technical and practical opportunities. It wasn't really until I got to university where it hit me that actually, there aren't that many women here. And why is that? It started to become a bit more apparent. Um, and day to day, I work in a company and have worked in other companies where people on a day to day basis and are not making my life difficult. They're not out to get me because I'm a woman. There are smaller things that you just sometimes notice and become obvious, and then you sort of, why am I having to do this? Is that person saying that? Would they be saying that if I was a man, in the same way? There's a little things. I mean, you touched on one earlier about the loos, and we won't have done enough until we have to queue for them, which is an interesting one because actually I've come from an environment where the women's loos are locked to stop men from going in and using them. So yeah, there are those day-to-day differences.
So tell us about your work at Ricardo, because Ricardo is absolutely at the cutting edge of automotive and other technologies, and you're operations manager on a very important production line.
Yeah, that's right. So I've actually just had a bit of a promotion, which is great. So I'm now the operations manager, as you said, and we produce the engines for the McLaren supercar range here at our facility in Durham. So we're producing those, give or take, around 100 a week. And I've got a team of over 50 people now that help us do that. Yeah.
Now, you've got that promotion, and I imagine that the team inevitably is mostly male. You got it entirely on merit. And how does the team react? Do you ever get any feedback from them that you would regard as in any way negative?
I guess the short answer is no, not really. I think, like I was saying earlier, the individuals in this company, in my experience, are really supportive, and it's not really a factor. Ricardo's doing quite a lot of stuff now at a group level and down to try and reiterate that message and support that as well. So that's probably having an impact in making that environment more inclusive.
I mean, what we've said many times in a lot of the conversations I've had around this issue with lots of people is that it's not difficult. We all mix together in our daily lives. Why it should ever be regarded as an issue, who knows? But the sad fact is that in some companies it is, and it is possible to change. And the fact that Ricardo are obviously very very aware of that and preach a strong message is fantastic. And talking of messages, if you were sitting in front of a group of young women, girls, sort of 14, 15, 16-year-olds, and they were wondering what to do with their lives, and heavens above, we live in very uncertain times, what would you say to them, not just about engineering, but actually about just taking control and understanding that they can be the architects of their own futures?
I think I would say that, if you're interested in science and maths, in those types of subjects, if you've got an urge to be making things and creating things and making a difference, then I would strongly advise you to consider a career in engineering and manufacturing, because there's so many cool things you can do. And it's so exciting, and it is great fun. I love what I do. And, don't think that you can't do it. Don't let anybody tell you can't do it. It's quite well recognized now that most women are actually more capable than they feel they are. So reach out to people that can support you and can advise you, but also, look at the people that are out there already forging the way.
Well said. Joe, thank you very much indeed for being with us, and congratulations on being a rising star.
Thanks very much. Thanks for having me.
Not a problem at all. Great to see you. This has been a special report from Manufacturing TV. I'm Nick Peters. Thanks for joining us.